Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of SpaceX Starlink 9-3. You're looking at a beautiful view of the ever-always foggy Vandenberg Space Force Station in California, in the United States, on the West Coast, as we count down now just the final 4 minutes and 20 seconds till launch. Now, we're listening into Mission Control as they go through the final minutes of the count as Strongback Retract has begun. As always, if it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here at the Launchpad. Here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. We're glad to have you joining us here. If you haven't yet, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We got Joe in North Carolina, Arrow is in Japan, Jordan's in Iowa City, we got Songwriter in New York, people tuning in from all over the world, as well as we got Geoffrey in Kenya. Welcome. I also know we saw Panzer in the Philippines. Game Preet is in Spain, Barcelona. And we have Ginger, as always, tuning in from Lakewood, Washington. It's great to have you all tuning in here. Take a moment, share out the stream as we count down the final 3 minutes and 30 seconds till launch. Now, it's hard to see it, but on the pad is Falcon 9 preparing for its 19th flight. This is booster 1063. This booster has previously supported Sentinel-6, Michael Farelch, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, DART, Transporter 7, Iridium, OneWeb, SDA-0B, and 13 previous Starlink missions. The West Coast Station, Of Course I Still Love You autonomous drone ship, is stationed downrange in the Pacific Ocean, ready to recover today's first stage booster. On board today are 20 Starlink satellites. We have 7 V2 mini satellites, as well as 13...
Stage 1 LOX float is complete.
As well as 13 direct-to-cell satellites as SpaceX continues to expand that constellation, testing its capabilities with the hopes of bringing it online worldwide over the coming years, that you can replace your cell phone provider and even just use Starlink. Starlink Minis dishes are now available for use on roam across the United States as well, as SpaceX continues to advance the Starlink constellation, bringing more systems and opportunities online at a lower cost and a global access. T-minus 2 minutes, 23 seconds and counting till launch. There is a Falcon 9 there that is going through final top-ups of its fuel in preparation for flight. As we always come down to the last 2 minutes in the count, we want to see that go, no-go from you guys in the chat. If you're not a TLP member yet, you make sure you hit that join button. Just 99 cents a month gets you access to our custom TLP launch emotes. We're rolling out some new behind-the-scenes footage to members only, as well as we release some member-exclusive videos now and again as well. So make sure you stay tuned for those. But let's see that go, no-go in the chat. T-minus 1 minute, 50 seconds and counting.
Stage 2 LOX float is complete.
The next major milestone that we'll hear for callouts will be at T-minus 1 minute. That's when the Falcon 9 will take over the flight computers, do final pre-launch checks, and pressurize its tanks to flight levels. 15 seconds later, at T-minus 45 seconds, we'll have the final go for launch from the launch director. Coming down under T-minus 90 seconds and counting. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad following liftoff. We'll be answering those during the coast phase of the first stage as we wait for its entry burn, so we'll be answering those live. T-minus 60 seconds. Falcon 9 computers have taken control.
Falcon is in startup.
And Falcon is in startup, and they are now beginning to pressurize the tanks to flight levels. T-minus 50 seconds. Waiting for the call out from the launch director.
LD is go for launch.
And the launch director is go. T-minus 40 seconds and counting. If you're just joining us, you're looking at a foggy view of Slick 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Station in California, where SpaceX is preparing to launch 20 more Starlink satellites.
T-minus 30 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds and counting. T-minus 20 seconds.
T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And lift off the Falcon 9. Go SpaceX. Go forward.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
And Falcon 9 has launched,
Stage 1
piercing
propulsion
through
is
the
nominal.
fog at Vandenberg Space Force Station, carrying 20 Starlink V2 minis and direct-to-cell satellites to low Earth orbit. 25 seconds into flight, Falcon now already 1.5 kilometers in altitude, coming up to over 500 kilometers an hour in speed and gaining, everything continuing to be nominal. You can see the roll program there on Falcon 9. We don't always get to see it super clearly, so great to see that there as Falcon 9 begins hitting southwest from the western space coast. The next major milestone that we expect to come up is Max-Q. This is the moment of peak mechanical stress on the vehicles, a very critical moment in the count. Let's listen for the call out.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Max-Q.
And there we have that call out for Max-Q being confirmed. Falcon 9 continuing on a nominal trajectory, T plus 1 minute, 20 seconds into flight, continuing to follow along with its journey. The next milestone will be the beginning of a sequence of events, starting off with MECO, or main engine cutoff. That'll be 2 minutes, 25 seconds into flight. Immediately followed by first and second stage separation, second engine start, or MVAC engine start, grid fin deploy, and then 30 seconds later followed by fairing deploy. Those two fairings will be recovered, or attempted to be recovered, by a support ship in the Pacific Ocean. They generally take about 45 minutes or so to descend back to Earth. Coming up at 2 minutes into flight, Falcon 9 now traveling over 35 kilometers in altitude, coming up to over 5,000 kilometers an hour in speed, waiting for the callouts of MECO, first and second stage separation, MVAC engine start, and then fairing deployment. Let's listen for the callouts.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
Back ignition.
And you can see a great visual there of MECO, first stage separation, and MVAC engine start. There are the grid fins. Let's listen for the call out of fairing deployment. That is not a windshield wiper. That is something up against the camera on the left side of your view.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Great view inside the fairing there as they separate, exposing the 20 Starlinks to the vacuum of space. You can see very clearly there, actually, the 13 direct-to-cell and then the 7 V2 minis. 3 minutes, 30 seconds into flight. This is where we're going to be answering your guys' comments and questions. You can send those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad. We'll be working on answering those live while we go through the coast phase here. The second stage is continuing under power, coming up to 9,000 kilometers an hour in speed, passing 115 kilometers in altitude. The first stage is heading up to what's known as its apogee. This is its highest point in its flight, so keep an eye on the speed in the bottom left corner. When the speed starts going up and altitude goes down, we have confirmed apogee, completing the ascent of the first stage and beginning recovery operations as it descends back to Earth to the drone ship of course let me confirm it one more time. Of course I still love you. They've only got 3. You'd think I'd remember. But keep sending in those comments and questions. We're watching for those as we continue. The entry burn of the first stage set to begin in about 90 seconds from now. Today's entry burn expected to last 25 seconds. This is when they light up a few of the Merlin 1D engines to help slow down the vehicle but protect it from the re-entry heating. Shapuli, I'm now emotionally invested into whatever this debris is. Yep. On the right side of your screen, you can see for a moment there a lot of ice buildup on the second stage. Something that we don't, depending on the lighting, sometimes we see really well and sometimes we don't. Yeah, that's a lot of ice there you can see on the second stage. 5 minutes into flight, the Falcon 9 now beginning its descent back down to Earth. Second stage passing 11,700 kilometers an hour in speed, coming up to 150 kilometers in altitude. Now, SpaceX no longer provides live coverage of Starlink deployment, But tonight's deployment will occur 59 minutes, 14 seconds into flight, following one final burn of the second stage just about 6 minutes earlier than that. Tonight's final burn, SES-2, will last a total of 1 second to finalize its burn. Jenny's asking, is there a launch on the 24th or 25th of this month from Kennedy? So we only actually had confirmation of this launch not even 12 hours ago. So we're getting a little bit slower notice on some of these. Currently, we do not have any launches scheduled from Kennedy or Cape Canaveral after the 17th of this month. But if you head over to tlpnetwork.com/launches, you can stay up to date on the latest launch coverage there. That gets updated all the time, automated through our systems. So you'll be able to keep an eye on that as we follow along. There we have entry burn startup, the first stage beginning its descent back into the Earth's atmosphere. This burn expected to last about 25 seconds here today.
Stage 1, entry burn, shutdown.
And we have entry burn shutdown. That first stage now free falling through the atmosphere and sky down towards the drone ship. Its landing burn is set to begin 7 minutes, 49 seconds into flight. So we've got 70 seconds of free fall. Always like to point out, look, we're at 30 kilometers in altitude, still traveling over 5,000 kilometers an hour. But just using those grid fins, the thickness of the atmosphere, and the booster, it is going to slow down in preparation for its landing burn. Unlike Starship, it doesn't do a belly flop. It does come in engines first. The second stage continuing under power there, and some amazing views
Stage
of
one,
this ice
SES is
breaking
saved.
off, and the ice hitting the superheated engine thrust, and you can see it just instantly being vaporized. Some truly incredible videos coming from the second stage here today.
Stage 1, transonic.
If you haven't
Stage
yet,
2,
make sure
SES
you
is saved.
engage that subscribe button so you never miss another live launch coverage, docking, undocking, or return to Earth. Of course, we are all following along with the mission of Starliner, and we'll bring you full coverage of that when they begin their journey home. We're also counting down to launch of the 5th flight test of Starship, and we do have our 24/7 Starship camera, which you can actually control. Members that are Starbase Explorer or higher do get access after about 24 hours of being a member to control
Stage
that
1,
camera.
landing burn.
Landing burn has begun.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Two clean views of the drone ship.
Stage 1,
coming
landing
into
leg
view.
deploy.
You can see even the fog out there, 600-700 kilometers downrange. And we have touchdown, a Falcon 9 booster.
Stage 1, landing
63, completing its 19th mission, closely approaching to becoming one of the flight leaders. Now, SpaceX, as I said, no longer provides coverage of deployment. We'll wait here for confirmation of SECO 1. We're expecting that in the next few seconds once we see that speed cut off. But that's going to do it for our live launch coverage. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage. Join us over on the TLP Discord. It's free to join. It's where our community hangs out in between streams, and we'd love to see you there. And make sure you head on over to tlpnetwork.com, click on the shop, and you can get your very own TLP launch gear. Global shipping's available, and all that goes back into helping support what we do to bring you better coverage of everything space. And we have a lot of exciting things, big announcements coming over the next few weeks. Our team's already planning future Starship launch coverage, and we're even deep into planning for Artemis 2 and 3. So make sure you're subscribed and on the Discord to stay up to date on the latest of everything TLP, and become a member to get access to some of these new things even earlier. That's going to do it from our TLP Canada studio. Huge thank you to all of our moderators that were in the chat, helping keep the chat safe and answering those questions. If you're interested in joining as part of our team, send in an application. The link's in the chat. We'd love to invite you to join. We're from our TLP Canada studio. My name's Zach, and we will see you next time, because space is better together. Good night.